G Show Land, and welcome to another episode of the G Show Podcast. I am G1, and this is the Godzilla Block Party. Oh boy, listen, it's been a whirlwind week, if you will, when it comes to the big guy. Godzilla King of the Monsters came out last week. We did our full spoiler review last week. Go check it out. If you haven't seen the movie already, what are you waiting for? Why are you listening to this podcast if you haven't seen the movie? Because you must be a Godzilla fan if you're listening to this podcast. So if you haven't seen it, go see it. And if you've seen it, go see it again. Because it needs your help. That's right, it needs your help. It needs your help, and it needs her help, and his help. Go help it. Because we're going to get into that. That's box office stuff right there. And I don't care what nobody says, oh, box office don't matter. Yes, it does. We're going to get into that in a bit. But before we get in, we're also going to get to... Now, before we get into all of that stuff, we're going to get into all of that stuff. Let me introduce you to my esteemed panel. Joining me, as always, my right hand when it comes to Godzilla on the G Show, G73, Megzy, my brother Chase. What's up, bro?
Nah, man, I'm dedicating this podcast to Mike Daugherty because he is the ultimate Godzilla fan, man.
And he's the ultimate Godzilla trolling troll. I love him. I love him. Yeah. I love him. Also joining us once again, it's been a solid month straight. You know him as Gam Z1. We know him as Andrew. What's up, my brother?
Mike Daugherty is a shipping degenerate, and King of the Monsters was a mistake, and I now believe Ellen Jonah did nothing wrong.
As you can see, the troll was trolled by Michael Daugherty, and he's still troll hurt by it. But before we get into all of that stuff, let's talk about some real deal stuff. Okay, and honestly, this goes without saying, we have to talk about this, and that is the not so good box office return for Godzilla King of the Monsters. Now, some may say that it was because of the terrible score on Rotten Tomato from the critics, the 43 critics that gave it 40% on Rotten Tomatoes, because when you look at all the fan reactions, it was at like a 90%. Certified fresh, if I'm not mistaken, because I don't pay attention to that site. But I believe that because of that site, that might have swayed a lot of non-Godzilla casual moviegoers from seeing this movie. And you know what? That's a legit thing, because this movie came out and it performed under what it was expected to do. Not by much, $1 million, but still. It was projected to do $50 to $55 million on its opening weekend. Some projections had it at $60 to $65 million. The movie made $49 million. Opening at number one in the box office, no doubt about it. But $49 million domestic for a movie that cost roughly $170 million to make. That, my friends, is not good at all. And say what you want, because believe you me, I'm with you. Well, it was number one at the box office, and that's great. That's fine. But seriously, it should have been number one way more than that. If you look at what the original movie opened up at, I think somewhere 85 to 90 million. Kong Skull Island opened up to something like 63 million. This is a humongous drop-off. And you not only have Godzilla, but you have 3 other titans of it's insane. And I guess it really was for the fanboys. And those who were not fanboys were like, I don't want to see this. And it showed. And it absolutely showed. But as disappointing as it is what it is. It did make it made some money overseas opening weekend. Not too much. It wasn't crazy.
It made $134 million overseas.
As of right now. I'm talking about opening weekend.
No, not right now, as of when it came out.
Okay, so I'm looking at this right here, right now. Box Office Mojo. Domestic, $60 million as of right now. As of June 5th. So it was yesterday. Foreign, $130 million.
Yeah, I'm guessing they haven't calculated the weekdays.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that doesn't sound right at all.
Well, you know what doesn't sound right? The fact that this movie only made $49 million. And I'm looking over here. It says weekend gross from May 31st to June 2nd. It says $47.7 million. Not even 49. That's terrible. That's terrible. There's no way of cutting it. There's nothing you can say that's going to make this right, because let's be for real here. It's going to lose out to a far inferior movie this weekend in X-Men, and make no mistake about it, people.
No, if it loses to anything, it'll be Secret Life of Pets.
Oh, it's going to lose Secret Life of Pets too, but it's not coming in number 1. It's not coming in at number 2, and it might not even be number 3, to be honest with you. It might not even be number 4, because I'm going to tell you something. I saw this the other day, and I was like, nah, come on, man. Apparently on Sunday, in Japan, Sunday into Monday, Aladdin was number 1 again. Aladdin. That guy. In Japan. I'm just saying. There's no way you can spin this. This is terrible news for us. Terrible news. Absolutely horrifying. And it hurts my heart to discuss this, because we try to have fun here at the Godzilla Block Party, but you sometimes got to take the bad with all the good. And as much as I love this movie, as much as my 2 partners here love this movie, and I'm sure millions of you G fans love this movie, it underperforms severely, and it just seems like there's no market for this stuff. So, that being said, Chase, talk to me, my brother, because I know you're very adamant about certain things to this, but talk to me.
Well, I don't really know what there is to talk about, just that, Are
you disappointed?
What?
Are you disappointed in this box office take?
Yeah. Am I disappointed that it underperformed? Yes. But the thing is one of the things is like, I'm more concerned about what's going to be its final intake when they pull it from theaters, from everywhere, not domestically, but globally. Because it's sounding like this is becoming another Pacific Rim, which Pacific Rim didn't do good domestically here, but it did phenomenally overseas. So that's my really concern about it. And, it may not have been like the actual tradition of a box office where it's supposed to make 60 to 70 million opening day. But the thing is like, I think it's just, for one, I personally also believe it's really none of our business with the success of the box office. That's between Toho and Legendary and Warner Brothers, what they decide. But when it comes to the final intake of that box office, when Godzilla's pulled completely from the theaters, that's where I feel like it needs, that's the discussion, when the discussion should be made. That's just my opinion. So I guess with that being said, I really don't care about the box office right now, because my focus is going to see Godzilla multiple days as I can, which I'm going to be seeing multiple days in the next couple of days. I'll be seeing it. I'm going to be seeing it as long as I can until it's pulled from my theaters. And also with that being said, Legendary has come out and they're talking about the box office because they were caught. Some CEOs were caught in a movie expo, I think at the licensing, and people were talking about them. And I'm holding my optimism on what the Legendary CEO said. And Short Story came out, and this was reported by Yahoo Mail or Yahoo News, and I'm going by with what they were saying, and they were saying basically the short story of it is, we understood the risks of this movie. We stand by the movie. We don't view it the same way as everyone else is viewing it. And we stand by 100% by this movie. And we are 100% excited for Godzilla vs. Kong. And I think with that optimism there with them and the professionalism there with them, including with what Mike Daugherty said with his opinion about it, which was basically, I didn't give a shit about it 40 years ago, what the box office or critics said, and I'm not going to give a shit about it now. I stand by that. And the thing is that's the only light I can see right now between what's going on. So that's what I'm going to only care about. And like I said, until that final box office number hits globally, domestically, when it's the final intake, if it's way under the performance of where it should be considered successful at all, then we'll talk. But the thing is I feel like it's, it may not make 10 million next weekend or 10 million this week, or, it may not gradually make more money. But the thing is I wouldn't count it out of the running yet. That's just me. And I know you, Ray, probably think very differently, and I'm sure a lot of people as well do. But that's where I stand on it.
Oh yeah, I feel like this is the ending of Godzilla 1954. It's over. It's over. What we've seen right now in front of our very eyes is the disintegration of Godzilla, and it breaks my heart. I'm looking at this right now. I'm looking at the foreign totals. Right, check this out. There's more foreign markets than I thought it opened on. I know not all of them are open yet, and that's one of the things that I'm like, I got my fingers crossed. But as I look at this list, all the big ones, all the big foreign markets, it's open already, and the highest grossing foreign market that Godzilla made, the highest total, $69.9 million, close to $70 million already, as of June 2nd. So that's just opening weekend. That was China. In Japan, $8 million. That's good. For whatever reason, I was looking at Lithuania's in Japan. My eyes were switching. I'm glad that wasn't the case, because I would have been really upset. I was really upset. I was getting upset. 8 million in Japan. That's
more than Shin Godzilla's opening weekend.
Because it's a better movie than Shin Godzilla, and they know it too. Thank you, Gam Gam, for proving our point here at the G Show. But I mean, like, it's, oh God, it kills me, because before I get into, again, my stupid tirades about this box office stuff, because it means a lot to me. Just as a movie fan, I love seeing movies perform, especially movies that I love and adore. For instance, Star Wars. Of course I want Star Wars to succeed. Is it going to make Avengers bucks now? I don't think so. Because the last couple of movies left a sour taste in the fans' mouth. But Star Wars is still such a freaking blockbuster movie. Like, there's big bucks coming. Automatically you're making big bucks off of that. And us as G fans want Godzilla to be there. For us, it's always going to make big bucks. And no matter how you cut it, $130+ million is a lot of money. $190 million, I guess, is where it's sitting at right now, is a shit ton of money. Is more money that we're going to all see combined, unless one of us hits Mega Millions. And then we all go to your house and hang out and have a great old time watching Godzilla King of the Monsters on 100-inch screen, because that's the only way you can watch it on home video.
Yeah, I just want to make one comment real quick, because I pulled up Forbes. Forbes is saying that it made $177 million worldwide on its opening weekend.
And that could be true. But,
well, that's what I'm saying is what you're going off at Box Office Mojo. It definitely sounds like Box Office Mojo isn't keeping up to date with its box office.
I see. I gotta disagree, because I mean, you gotta keep your reviewers in check. It's domestic total as of June 5th.
I get that, but the thing is I mean, Forbes posted that on June 4th and stuff, and Box Office Mojo hasn't updated it, I guess, period. So that's what I'm saying is, I mean, we're off topic, but I'm just saying it.
What was it that Forbes has it at?
What?
Where is it? What does Forbes have it at?
Forbes has it at 177 million worldwide.
Opening weekend.
Yeah, opening weekend.
That's fine. That makes perfect sense. Then that just absolutely correlates to what Box Office Mojo is saying, because as of yesterday, worldwide, it's sitting at 190 million. So that there's no argument for me there. So yes, Box Office Mojo does have their mojo all together. You know what I mean? Because if that was opening weekend, then that just means that since Monday, it's made $20 million. And that I find hard to believe. You know what I mean? Because as of Monday, it made $20 million domestically. Nope, I'm lying. $11 million. So yeah, no, I don't find it hard to believe it. Kid. Anyhow, Gams, what's your thoughts about this crazy mess of money that we don't have?
To my brothers and sisters over at Toho Kaiju Posting, the #1 ship posting site on Facebook, Gray Taylor was right. He was a prophet. Godzilla King of the Monsters will be a box office failure that will lead to the cancellation of the Monsterverse.
Who said that?
This guy named Gray Taylor who kept on saying it as a meme before the movie came out.
And it seems like he is a prophet.
He's a prophet.
And I'm not going to dismiss the Monsterverse as a whole. All I'm saying is because I too read what Chase read, and I love those quotes. That, you know, legendary execs are like, well, you know what? It's what it is. We're looking more for the foreign market now.
Reading into that, it sounds like Legendary is more concerned about Godzilla King of the Monsters as a piece of art, as a film, rather than as a product. That's pretty fucking dope, in my opinion.
And that's exactly what they were saying in Yahoo's interview. They were saying, like, we don't look at it traditionally like most movies get looked at. That's what they were.
Yeah, they're looking at it like it's. Yeah, they're looking at it like it's a piece of art, and that's great.
I also want to make one other point too. Look at the movies that came out domestically this weekend or last weekend too, as well. They all. Not just Godzilla, they all underperformed.
Yeah, Rocket Man underperformed, Ma underperformed.
I don't think Ma did not underperform at all. If anything, Ma overperformed. That movie,
but it was like number 3.
But it's going up against it's going up
against
a blockbuster in Godzilla King of the Monsters. It's going up a blockbuster against Aladdin. It's going up a biopic with Rocket Man, a musical one at that. And if we look at what Bohemian Rhapsody, what was that?
Brightburn's still in theaters, so
yeah, but Brightburn ain't making no money. Brightburn ain't making no money.
That thing's failing.
I wish it was making more money than it is. And I haven't seen it yet, but I just like the concept. But Ma, if anything, Ma's the real winner of the weekend. Ma made its budget back times 10. It made
its figure when it underperformed.
Because it didn't underperform. Where do you get this underperforming thing?
But in the lines of a budget, maybe.
In the lines of a budget, that movie cost $5 million to make. It made $25 million. So when you look at it like that, it is the box office winner. You see what I'm saying?
But I'm talking about what made more of the weekend, not what successfully contributed. Because what I'm trying to say is Godzilla underperformed, and Ma wasn't viewed at a high rate. And neither was that other movie, Rocket Man.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is part of me feels like I don't think the reason why I think these movies didn't do so well is kind of strange. I mean, all 3 of these movies, what I'm getting at, underperformed. You know, all 3 of them did. They didn't get a high box office. None of them broke 50 million, and I think that's just strange for movies in general.
Okay,
so what I'm saying is I wonder, you know, what is the main going factor here with these movies?
My theory is that even though it was the weekend, it's not quite the summer yet. Like, school's still in for a lot of states.
Not here. America. We're done.
Yeah, not for you guys, but like for us here in Montana, school tomorrow's the last day.
Yeah, there's some schools in my area too that still have a week or 2 left. But that's and also Memorial Day too. So
yeah, Memorial Day. So I mean, maybe the movie might get a second win. A lot of people are really hoping that the movie gets a second win for its second weekend. It probably won't be, but you never know, you know?
All right, so
but you want to know something that's really... I'm sorry to cut you off, Ray, because I know you're trying to speak, but Kong Skull Island, going through its box office, it for 2 weeks in a row after its, like, fifth week or so had a bigger intake than this previous weeks, which I find kind of interesting.
Well, you also got to factor in where Kong came out, and this is one of the beefs I had with where they put Godzilla. Kong came out in March. It had nothing in its way. It made $61 million opening weekend, and then, 5 weeks later, held on strong. That's dope. This is where I had a problem with Godzilla. It's in the wrong spot. Yes, it's a gigantic blockbuster movie. Is it a summer movie? I mean, they're putting blockbusters in December. They're putting blockbusters in February. You should have put Godzilla in November.
That's why I still say that the movie should have came out when the actual film was done in November.
And that's my and so that's my point. They failed there because here's the thing: when Godzilla vs Kong comes out, it's coming out in March. It's gonna make more money than this because there's nothing gonna be in its way. It should have been in November, whether it was 2018 or 2019. Godzilla King of the Monsters, the Monsterverse in general, this should not be summer movie fair. It just shouldn't. It should not be. The first Godzilla struck, I would say, gold, coming in at 90 million opening weekend, and then got crushed the following weekend because of X-Men. Now, this X-Men movie, I don't like Days of Futures Past. I really hate this movie a lot, this new one. But people are still going to go see this movie regardless. I'm hoping that, and this is my hope, that Rotten Tomatoes stuff deters people away from it. But it's a superhero movie, and superhero movies, especially with a name like Marvel, tend to make some money. So,
I feel like people will be somewhat turned away, doing both Rotten Tomatoes and the YouTube critics. Some of those YouTube critics have said that even the movie that preceded Dark Phoenix,
Apocalypse.
That adapted the same story.
Oh,
The
X3.
Last Stand.
I love that movie.
Was a much better movie.
Because it was. I don't know why people shit on that movie. That movie's dope. I don't care what nobody says. I love that movie. It's my second favorite X-Men movie. True story. But with the reputation that The Last Stand has, you may love it, but it's got that reputation. And when people say that The Last Stand is a better fare than this Dark Phoenix movie, people are going to be like, oh, God, no. All right, that's a good point. You talk about reputations. This is what bothers me. The reputation of the Monsterverse, was it the Pacific Rim? Is it legendary? What is it? Why did Godzilla underperform? Why? We should ask, forget the numbers, forget the money, but why did it underperform? Why did it not come in with what they were projecting it to do? What did it? Because unless you watch the trailers, I tell you, go ahead. I have a theory, and it's kind of like a double theory. Okay. The same kind of explanation for both why it's underperforming and why it would probably make more money in another market. Everybody I've talked to said that they're going to wait for it to come out on DVD. So it may be the situation like a lot of movies where it does not do good in the box office, but its home video life will be something great. And that's what I'm hoping for. That's what I think is going to happen, to be honest. I think that the sales on home video is gonna peak because maybe people don't want to see this in the movie, so they don't go. But they're maybe they see it in unconventional means, right? And then they're like, oh, it wasn't bad at all. But at that time, now the movie's out of the theater, so they wait, and it comes out on home video. And they got themselves, I don't know, a 65-inch HD TV, 4K, whatever it is, right? And they got themselves a little Xbox One where they can play these 4K things. And all of a sudden, Godzilla's on sale, 4K for, I don't know, $20. Hey, $20, 4K, let's buy it. Buy it. Trust me, because I buy freaking 4K movies that I never even watched just because it was on sale and it was 4K. I was like, oh shit, I'll take that. I just want to bolster my freaking library. I'm stupid like that. Are you kidding me? I'm going to buy any sort of collector's edition of the home video release once it comes out. But I'm talking about non-fans. I mean, as fans, of course. As fans, I'm going to get it as soon as it comes out on digital, and then as soon as it comes out on Blu-ray, 4K, whatever it is, I'm buying it. But I'm talking about non-fans. You made a good point. If people go buy that just to add to their collection, whether they watch it or not, they already bought it. You know what I mean? That's it. Yeah, Legendary has made their money. Exactly, and that's what I'm hoping for. That's what I'm really hoping for. My best friend, I asked him, I said, dude, did you go see Godzilla, bro? And he goes, man, I gotta tell you, I didn't. And I'm like, oh, come on, I thought you were gonna go see it. Because he was, and I said this on the G Show a couple months ago, He was like, dude, this shit looks crazy. And I'm like, I know, right? But I'm like, I'm not watching nothing because as a fan, I don't want to be spoiled. I want to go in and... I said, well, why not? Why didn't you see it? He goes, dude, man, because they were showing so much shit on the commercials. I was just kind of like, nah, I don't want to see that no more. And that right there, I was like, fuck. It was for the fans. And maybe if Legendary didn't show so much in the trailers, it would have had more people intrigued. So when they go see it, whether they liked it or not, Legendary already got your money.
Yeah, I feel that no matter what, all the TV spots, and especially that "Don't Call the Comeback" trailer, kind of ruined it for the general audience. Because literally, you saw Burning Godzilla in that "Don't Call the Comeback" trailer. You saw Burning Godzilla in a lot of those TV spots, and there's no surprise.
Well, but again, like my boy, he doesn't know about Burning Godzilla. I think the last Godzilla movie he probably watched was in 1979 when it was on TV. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like the only thing that I don't think that the trailer spoiled was the Action Destroyer. Like right. That's about it.
And that's what I'm saying though. It's like for somebody who doesn't know the lore like that, who doesn't know what a Burning Godzilla means to us fans, right? Who only knows the three-headed monster in the Beady days, you know what I mean? Who only knows Mothra through the song and knows that it's a giant butterfly. He didn't know who Rodan was. He was like, what? The giant flying dinosaur, what was that name again? All right, it's Rodan. Come on, man. But the fact that the first and second trailer, especially the second trailer, is what got him intrigued. Like, dude, where he's texting me, yo, you see this? Yes, I did. And then before the movie comes out, and he was like, nah, man, it's just some shit that... And I don't blame him. I couldn't blame him. Because for a non-fan, when you see all that stuff, whether you know this is the end or not, you're just kind of like, man, that's a little goofy looking. And that's the problem. We don't have a problem with that. We love that. But that's the problem with certain people. Most of the general going audiences, the other half of the people who went to see G14 but did not come out to see this one. You know what I mean? And that was as real as it got for me this past week when he said that. I was like, damn, y'all can't be mad at you. I can't. I did convince him, though, to go see it tomorrow in the matinee. I said, dude, I'm telling you, you got to go. I told him like this. I said, brother, because he loves John Wick more than Chase loves John Wick. And Chase loves some John Wick. I said, brother, this shit is the John Wick of giant monster movies. And I don't mean like, it's like John Wick. What I mean is like, it's John Wick in the violence when it comes to giant monsters. It's vicious. And he was like, all right, man, you kind of sold me on that. I was like, yeah, go see it. So, fingers crossed he gets to go see it this weekend. Matinee show. I know I'm going to go see it a couple more times. Unfortunately, he's out of all the good formats. No more XD, like Chase said, because they're not playing the latter, but they're playing X-Men and Secret Life of Pets. No more Dolby. No more IMAX. It's so sad. I'm like, come on, I'm on summer vacation. At least do a 1 o'clock show in IMAX and let me go see that real quick. But no, I digress.
It's basically what you've already been saying. Like, Michael Daugherty and Legendary took a gamble. They made the Godzilla movie that they wanted to make. They made a true-to-heart, fan-pleasing, fan-stroking Godzilla movie. And they threw it out there, and they took a gamble, and unfortunately, it's only barely, if even not, paying off.
It's... If all intents and purposes, if we're at 190 right now, by the end of this weekend... hopefully we're sitting over 200, and then maybe we start turning a profit. Because like I said, if this movie cost 170 to make, the market and promotion for this movie was through the roof. And that's what scares me. Until we find out what that budgetary thing was, that's the only thing that scares me. But right now, it seems like
you may never find what that budget was.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, absolutely right. So let me ask you real quick. Is this a piss?
And also one thing too is
go ahead.
we may never even know exactly what Godzilla's budget ever was. You gotta understand too, when these budget estimates come out from Box Office Mojo and something like that, they're just estimates. They're not final box offices.
Yeah, a lot of times companies do not, like these days, do not reveal what their actual budgets were.
Because, like, that's no one's business.
To an extent. I mean, I don't know the ins and outs of that, but the fact that there's a number floating around and that it's coming from 17 different sources, including Godzilla. You know, I see what I did there. I did a reference. Because it's coming from all of these different sources. That budget is in or around 170. I'm going to say 170 because I don't want it to be any higher than that.
Well, it's weird because I keep seeing some places are reporting it at 200 million.
Oh,
some places, the majority that I'm seeing is estimating it at 170.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So that's where, to me, that's a decent budget for the amount of stuff we saw in this movie. I want to get into that right now. Forget what it made in the box office. The budget versus what we got to see. Do you think that, because this is what I think, and I've been looking at some of these people this week online, and I'm like, what movie did they watch? Did they watch 2014 and think they were seeing King of the Monsters? Because if this movie was budgeted at 170, the amount of kaiju action we got in this movie, and yes, there's a lot of rain in the way, there's a lot of things that get in the way and fuzz up the picture a bit, but I'm telling you, and I'm not lying, and I think you can corroborate this with me, Chase. Seeing it in that Dolby cinema, I mean, like, it was crisp. It was crystal. Yes, there's rain, but you know what I can see beyond the rain? The monsters in glorious detail was insane. So if you pay an extra premium price to go see the damn thing, whatever the case may be, the fact is it's there. And 170 seems like a very modest budget for the amount of gorgeous shots we got. More so than what we got in 2014. So I'm confused to where people are complaining online about there not being enough monster action.
Yesterday I saw Angry Joe's review. And it kind of really miffed me. Like, that dude always says before he does his Godzilla-related reviews, oh, I'm a huge fan. Look at this cheap Bandai Godzilla figure that I have. I'm a huge fan. And then he proceeded to, for 20 minutes, harp on the exact same negative.
This sounds like me just now.
Over and over for 20 minutes before giving his final score of 6 out of 10.
That sounds like me just now with the box office. I apologize.
He kept on harking on the fact that they cut away all the time.
What?
And I'm like, what the hell are you talking about?
That's what I want to talk to y'all about.
Number one, the cutaways weren't really cutaways. Like, and even then, looking at it like that, the Toho movies do that literally all the time. Like, in Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster, you see a little bit of the battle with Ghidorah, and then you see, and then it goes to something with the princess bitch. And then it goes back to the monsters. Then it goes back to the princess bitch. Then it goes back to the monsters.
It's not
a new thing.
She's not a princess bitch. She's a beautiful woman. She's a princess who's hypnotized by the aliens.
Okay, I said it like that because I don't know. I forgot her name. So
the princess. That's all I had to say.
That's where I haven't listened to Joe speak about his opinions since he was talking about 2014.
Really?
So I don't give a shit about what Angry Joe says.
Wait, is it Angry?
But a lot of people do.
Wait, is this the guy?
Almost a million views on that review.
That's like giving a shit about Rotten Tomatoes.
Right. Is this the guy that does the video game reviews? Angry Video Game Nerd? Is that him, or is it somebody different?
No. Angry Joe does both movie and game reviews. He's the one that perpetuated the public's hatred of Godzilla PS4. And the meme, Godzilla's approaching the generator is losing power.
Okay, so I don't know who this person is. So, yeah, in that regard, Chase, I'm not even going to look at this dude. I don't know who that guy is.
No, don't trust me. Because he's just a washed-up person. He has no... I mean, it's a shame that so many little kids listen to him. But that's just... If you listen to anybody on YouTube, that's pretty much your case.
Hey, it could be worse. They could be listening to us.
Listen, the only person whose opinion matters, and he finally gave his opinion, is Hideo Kojima, and he likes the movie. 10 out of 10 Kino.
I saw that.
That's awesome. And that's So, all right. So then, again, let me ask you, like, on the modest budget, considering with all this action, Chase, let me ask you, are there some people, like, did they see the same movie we saw? I mean, do you think that there was more than enough monsters to make up that budget? Because I thought so. I thought it was perfect.
So here's this, it's hard to talk on because it's going to sound so silly, but there is this thing going around where people are talking about that basically what happened with Venom when Lady Gaga was talking her spiel about it, trying to get people to not see it.
Venom?
There's this rumor going around that that's basically what happened with the same case with Godzilla. Now, I don't want to go into that because, like, if that's true or not.
Yeah, we'll talk after this because I don't know about that and I want to know about that. We'll talk after this. That's what?
Yeah, there's this thing going on that, like, it's like a verbal sabotage, which to me, with Rotten Tomatoes and just, it seems like every reviewer almost on YouTube.
Wait, real quick.
When they review these movies, they basically.
I believe it's a conspiracy to sabotage Godzilla in the favor of Rocket Man.
No, it's none of that. But I want to ask Chase.
I don't want to get into that.
No, Chase, wait.
I want to finish what I was saying.
But I got to ask you one question real quick. Was it they saying that Lady Gaga might have said something about Godzilla King of the Monsters, or is something to that effect?
No. Well, what happened when Venom came out? Lady Gaga paid journalists to talk shit about Venom so people will go see
her movie?
The Star is Born.
Okay, I don't believe that anyway, but okay, all right, I get it.
Well, it got brought to light that she actually did do that.
That's so funny, but ain't nobody going to see that movie over Venom.
A lot of people, not a lot of people, but there's a few people speculating that, like, this is going around with the same thing with Godzilla. Now,
and Rocket Man?
That's true. I don't know if that's true, but the thing is when you read the Rotten Tomatoes reviews and you see the journalists on YouTube review it, and they review it almost the same way, and they say the same stupid things, I'm not saying that I believe it, but I am saying something sounds really weird because they're reviewing a movie that we did not see. And with that being said, is like I feel like no, a lot of people are reviewing a movie that did not actually happen. And I think it's very funny because never once in King of the Monsters do they cut away like they did in 2014. They do not, like, show it like, oh, Godzilla's about to punch something, and then it's like blank, and then something else.
Yeah, there's one part, and that's in Boston, where Godzilla and King Ghidorah link up. They're going at it, and all of a sudden, like, for whatever reason, it cuts to the back of the Argo. Like, the Argo gets in the way. I'm like, what? Get out of here, Argo! What are you doing?
Okay.
But no, I get what you're saying.
That's a minor thing.
And it was in the midst of the action going on back in the background. I totally get what you're saying.
Like one little fifth or 1/3 or one little smidge of that whole battle scene. Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't Godzilla roaring in Hawaii and then the little boy waking up.
I just think there are just some strange powers at B. I mean, I don't know what to believe, but I mean, I'm on the side of, like, I believe it, but I also don't believe it because I feel like, are we seriously living in a place where people will sabotage movies? I honestly believe that.
Yes, look at Solo. I agree.
Oh, yeah, Solo, absolutely. And that was such a great Star Wars movie.
And I disagree with you. Oh, I love you, Chase, but I disagree.
And I had so much fun seeing Solo, and I hope they get the Solo 2 thing they're doing on Twitter to actually kick in. But, man, I don't know. But I do think I'm afraid to hear what Grace Rudolph has to say about Godzilla. Because
Grace Randolph?
Remember her 2014 review was just horrid.
No, I don't listen to her.
I caught a snippet of it during a live stream.
I just want to know because I'm afraid your ears are going to bleed.
It was bad.
Yeah.
I can see it.
It was a bad review.
I don't pay attention to Hub for a very long time. I'm not a fan of Hub, but honestly, I'll tell you this.
She thinks she's a journalist.
I'll tell you this. I I really didn't listen to any reviews, even after we've seen the movie and did our own little spoiler review last week. I didn't listen to anything. I did go on, and it was funny, Collider Live to watch, because it was like the title of the Collider Live. It was like Godzilla King of the Monsters review, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm going to watch it. And that was fun for a completely other reason. It wasn't even the Godzilla thing that went down. It was the Star Wars stuff that went down, and I was like, wow, this wasn't promoted in the title of the video, so I got super excited over that. But the dude said it. He said it. He goes, look, he dismissed the movie. He did. But he said, for what it is, it's fine. And that is all. That's all that these people needed to say. And that's why I'm like, with the critics, I'm not watching this with a critical eye. I'm watching this from a fanboy perspective. The same way I watch Dark Phoenix, with a fanboy perspective. And yes, some may say, yo, but G1, Ray, you didn't like any of the First Class movies. That is true. I did. They just didn't do anything for me. But each one I gave a chance. And the one I hated the most, Days of Futures Past, I watched that shit like 4 times. I don't know why. I was like, there's got to be something here.
Well, just like when we saw Shin Godzilla, we saw it multiple times, even though we still thought it was gum under our shoe. We still watched it.
You ain't lying. You ain't lying. Exactly that. It's like, I guess we're gluttons for punishment. But like,
Shin Godzilla, that's a funny way of saying the anime trilogy.
Wait, there was an anime trilogy?
What you talk about, Willis? I only saw one anime movie. What? But
you mean Evangelion Godzilla?
Oh my god! All I'm saying is, like, you know, I look with X-Men. I looked at it from a fanboy's perspective. I got a ton of X-Men comics. I know the Dark Phoenix storyline. Let me tell you the only bit of enjoyment I got out of watching Dark Phoenix. And this is not a bash Dark Phoenix a podcast, but it is. I sat there watching that movie, and all I kept doing was singing the 1990s cartoon intro for X-Men. And I couldn't stop laughing in my head to myself, because it fit. The movie was terrible, but it was like, it made me, I could sit here and watch this crap fest as long as I keep going. I swear to God. And that's messed up, right? That's messed up because they put in a hard, or like what Daugherty said, like what the exec that Legendary said, they went in, they made their movie. They made their movie and they stand by it. And for us, for me, it worked. In the case of X-Men, if they're saying the same thing, it didn't work at all. And it sure as hell didn't work for the critics. But
well, it's almost like after we see Godzilla so many times, we go home and as we're laying in bed, we just hear the March theme constantly in our head.
Absolutely. That's so true.
But going back on the review thing, before we change it up a bit.
Yeah.
I usually watch John Campea before I go see a movie, because I listen to his words because I feel like he's a little bit honest.
Yeah.
And I like what he has to say for the most part. But I didn't for Godzilla, because I felt like from the start, because after I saw Robert Burnett's review, I knew instantly that John Campea was not going to have the same views as him.
Right.
So I deliberately decided to wait. And boy, was I glad I did not watch his review before I saw the movie. Well, he actually didn't put the review up before the movie. So I was actually glad about that.
Yeah, I saw that afterwards. You're right.
Yeah. But the thing is I'm glad for that, because I read his review, and I'm sorry, John Campea, if you're listening to this some way, but I mean, I don't know what movie you saw, but Godzilla was in it way more than 20 minutes.
20 minutes seems about right.
You got to understand the context, why he wasn't in it for the one period of time, and you also have to understand this movie as a giant monster movie in general, not just, for your sake. You complained so much about the human characters being a drag, but take for what the movie actually is called. It's called Godzilla. You're there for Godzilla, and Godzilla was in it a lot more than what you want to say, and I think you're very biased on that, buddy. And because of that, I've lost a little bit of respect for you, man.
I don't think Godzilla was in it more than 20 minutes. I don't think he was in it for 20 minutes, but he was definitely in there.
Okay, then 20 minutes at least. Then
I would definitely say he's in there a lot. Even if he's not in there as long as some other Toho movies, I will say this. When he is there, it's absolutely magnificent. Like, that never
think that's all that matters.
Exactly.
Really.
It never came across in my head.
Even then, like, even when the monsters aren't on screen, the plot still revolves around them. Everybody's still talking about them.
Right.
Their presence is still felt.
Right. I mean, Mark, what's his last name?
Russell. Mark Russell.
I love the fact that he hated the Titans, but he when he says you got to kill them all, especially that one, and he's pointing at Godzilla.
Especially Godzilla, because Godzilla accidentally killed his son.
And I love that. I absolutely love that. You know what I'm saying? Like, like I said last week in the review, I had zero problems with any of the human characters in this movie. And the one that I thought I was going to have problems with, I didn't. I actually loved him.
Rick Stanton.
Rick Stanton, you know it. He looked like my grandfather. I swear to God. I turned to my brother and I said, yo, he looks like grandfather.
I was talking to my friends my best friends that I took to go see it. And my one best friend, my friend's, I don't know how to say this, but my two best friends, they're in a relationship with each other. And she said that her favorite character was Mothra, which of course, and also Rick Stanton. She said those two were my favorite characters.
All right, well, outside of the reviews, and I mean, yes, unfortunately, this seems like a very negative Godzilla Block Party, and it might well be, but this isn't negative. Like, right here, we're talking about the negative and the shit that people are saying online. Like, just as fans, like, come on, y'all. We're fans. We got exactly what we asked for. I don't know where people are coming from. Like, this is stupid. Godzilla wasn't even in it. People went crazy when 2014 came out and was like, where was Godzilla in the movie? And it turns out Godzilla was in the movie more and longer than he was in 1954. The difference is 54 was solid. Solid. That is a film. Okay? And so is 2014, but there's no comparison. 1954 is just, it's a different beast altogether. Everybody was complaining. You not only got Godzilla, but then you got real damn Mothra and can't get her. Yeah, she got Mothra for 20 seconds, but she's there and she's glorious. So stop. Well, I don't know. I don't know.
She's alive.
she was there long enough for people to start making fat out of shipping her and Godzilla.
Listen, and again, there's the trolls with the capital TROLLS. So I don't care when Daugherty comes out and he trolls the trolls. I think it's hysterical. I love it. But that all being said, we got to get into a little bit of downer news. This is a downer, and it's like, oh, but I don't know. There might be a question mark here still. So the news came out yesterday that Warner Brothers is pulling out of Comic-Con. They will not be at Hall H. What? So there's going to be no Wonder Woman stuff, no any DC movie stuff. But then that also means, like, Warner Brothers, you have the rights to Harry Potter. We're not going to get another Crimes of Grindelwald thing. But most importantly, the thing we want to know is, what about Godzilla vs. Kong? Now, if Warner Brothers is pulling out, I don't know the answer to this. So maybe one of y'all can help me. If Warner Brothers is pulling out, does that mean Legendary can't show anything? Is Legendary even going to be there?
Legendary is a different company.
Yeah, but they
probably have their own panel at Comic-Con.
But they're partnered. You know what I mean? So
Warner Brothers holds the realm. So.
Right, yes. So
yeah, like, even though Warner Brothers is like the distributor and like the main money like provider for Legendary's production, it's still Legendary's movie. They're the ones making the movie.
Yeah, but
we don't know yet.
That's what I'm worried about, because last year, any year for that matter, whenever there was like one of these tentpole movies, whether it was in the Monsterverse or Pacific Rim, it was during the Warner Brothers panel. And that is, now that they're not going to be there, I'm kind of like, wait, because in all honesty, we should see something in July. We should absolutely see something in July when the movie comes out in March. Give us the tease now. That's a good and bad thing. I've been giving it some thought, and I'm going to get to that in a bit. But Chase, what do you think? This is a good idea or a bad idea?
I don't see it as either. I see it just as a expected idea. Because I've been telling you guys since we were talking about it, I don't feel like I didn't think we were going to get a Godzilla versus Kong trailer at Comic-Con at all.
I can co-sign this. He's been saying this for about 5-6 months now.
What's that?
I said you've been saying this for about 5-6 months.
Yeah, and it just confirms my thoughts on it. I don't see it as a bad thing, but I do think that if I do think the March date for Godzilla vs Kong is not final. I will say that. I could see that changing.
To what? Whoa! Don't get me scared. To what? What? To changing to what?
I mean, if it was me, I would have it in November, but I would wait. Maybe a year. Honestly.
So you're saying 2021?
For one, if it was me and I was putting Godzilla vs Kong out, if you wanted to, I guess, build up some hype to it, I would postpone it for a year, because I'm going to tell you, with Adam Wingard and everyone at the helm of Godzilla vs Kong right now, March is not enough time for them to put out a full-fledged movie.
Wow.
They already finished principal photography. All they're doing now is post-production, though.
Yeah, but you realize, though, that's still not enough time for...
Over a year for post-production?
It's only 9 months. That's only 9 months.
I'm saying if you want them to postpone it like 2021, over a year for post-production.
I would put it out 2020 November or something like that.
Hell yeah.
I wouldn't do it in March.
You know what? Oh, no, that's this year. Never mind. Couldn't do it. I would have loved it. Could you imagine if Godzilla... See, King of the Monsters should have came out in November of this year. The 65th anniversary of Godzilla, and here we go, Godzilla, King of the Monsters. Bam! That's how you market the movie, but no!
Okay, but if it came out November of this year, then it would have had to deal with the Rise of Skywalker.
No, it didn't, because the Rise of Skywalker comes out in Christmas. That's a Christmas thing. There's nothing in the way. Terminator Dark Fate comes out November 1st. That's all that's there right now. That's the only thing in the way. You think Godzilla's going to last for 3-4 months? Hell no. Anyway you put it in the year, it's not. But you got to give it a solid weekend on its own with nothing in the way. Maybe a solid 2 weeks with nothing in its way. You want to make its money back, that's what you do it.
I mean, I think November and March are the best months for kaiju movies.
Agreed.
There's just something about... I mean, Kong did well when it came out in March. And I thought that was I thought that would have been a good idea for Godzilla, but when Captain Marvel and all this stuff got put in, I thought it was smart that they changed it. But now, thinking about King of the Monsters, I still maybe would have put it out maybe where John Wick's spot was if John Wick wasn't coming out on the day that it did, honestly.
That's a good point.
But I just don't think right now, I mean, we're getting off topic, but personally, I don't think that March is, I don't think they have enough time production-wise and doing the visual effects and everything, and the editing and the reshoots. And just in under 9 months, it's more like 8. If you want to count it. Honestly, that's my opinion. But if they're standing by it and they're confident in it, which what Legendary was pretty much saying, I'm gonna tell you, we probably will see a Godzilla vs Kong trailer at the New York Comic-Con, or it's gonna surprise us.
Chase, let me tell you something. I agree with what you're saying. I really do. And then this idea popped into my head, right? And as crazy as it sounds, when King of the Monsters came out, that movie is for us, the fans. It definitely ain't for the regular movie-going audiences. As much as we want it to be for everybody, it is more for us. Michael Daugherty's laid claim to that. He said, nah, man, listen, this is a movie I wanted to make. Are you kidding me? And Legendary let me. Dude, could you imagine the reason why there's such a fast turnaround time on Godzilla vs. Kong is because of, excuse me here, stock footage? That's why Toho was cranking them out every year. It's like, just reuse this shit. Fuck it. Why not? Let's just reuse it. Stock footage. Make it authentic.
Well, I mean, in King of the Monsters, they put a few stock footage things in there.
Right.
Actually.
The fucking... in like TV screens, the news screens, and all that.
Yep. I'm just saying. I mean, that's not going to happen, but it would be funny. That's the reason for the fast turnaround. I do agree with
What?
you,
You mean
though.
it's not going to happen? You got my hopes up.
Stock footage for life. I mean, I do agree.
Godzilla's Revenge, yeah.
That's only if Kong does well. If Godzilla vs. Kong does well, we're getting the stock footage. We're re-releasing.
After Godzilla vs. Kong, if Godzilla vs. Kong is the turnaround, they should do a movie called Godzilla's Revenge.
Right.
And Godzilla's Revenge is just fucking
King of the Monsters.
Box office king.
Right, yeah, that's all it should be. It should be King of the Monsters re-released under the title Godzilla's Revenge.
Which is really interesting bringing that up because yesterday there was this thing being talked about concept art-wise. And I don't know if you guys saw it, but it was floating around the internet. And this piece of concept art that came out for King of the Monsters, and it was basically like a timeline for movies. Well, this piece of concept art that was used, which people believed was a fan thing, actually ended up being concept art for a book, the art book. And in that art book, in this line of art, there was a Destroy All Monsters art. So, I don't know, man.
Oh, man.
Something, I don't know.
Well, speaking of art, we're going a little long on this podcast because I spieled for 35 minutes on box office stuff, so I apologize now, but we're going a little long. I'm going to put a little addendum in the beginning of this podcast for everybody just to catch up. The art. I got the art book, but I don't want to talk about the whole book as a whole because my compatriots here don't have it yet. But we've seen certain pics from that book. I mean, and granted, they're just there for filler. And ain't nobody in their right mind gonna believe that Gamera was, thought to be in the Monsterverse. It's just there, it's filler. But was it cool? Abso-frackin-lutely it was. So, Gams, let me ask you. You've seen these pictures. You've seen the picture. And again, people, if you haven't seen Godzilla King of the Monsters, I don't know what you're doing here.
I've seen them, and they're really cool. I think people are misreading the spider one as being Kumanga. I figure that's just early concept art for Scylla. Before they gave Scylla the whole tentacles on her face.
Right.
But definitely the turtle one looks a lot like Gamera, especially the way the shell is.
Oh, yeah.
And you could see tusks on it. And whether or not it was going to be like a Gamera, not Gamera, kind of like how Scylla is not Kumanga, that would have been cool to see. But the one that's really interesting is the one nobody can deny, and that's Gigan.
Yeah, but
like that is straight up Gigan.
He looks a little chunky too. I liked it.
I mean, all the monsters in the Monsterverse are chunky.
No, all right. Let me rephrase that. He looks a little bit like Pulgasari. You guys know what I'm talking about? That Korean, the South Korean movie.
Yeah.
He reminded me of
Pulgasari is the North
Pulgasari.
Korean one.
Huh?
Pulgasari is the North Korean one.
Okay, North Korean one, but that's what it reminded me of. Everybody in that silhouette a bit. I mean, it is Gigan clearly, but it also had a Pulgasari build.
Yeah, it's clearly Gigan. It makes you think, like, is Legendary not telling us everything that they want to tell us? Do they own more Toho, not Gamera? That's just, I'm convinced that's just kind of a coincidence. But do they own more Toho Kaiju than they're letting on?
I think it's highly possible. I mean, okay, if they do Mecha King Ghidorah, that's another monster they got rights to.
He ain't lying.
That's a whole nother licensing character.
Like Space Godzilla win.
There was also one today that Baragon was in it too, but I didn't really see much of it. But
I didn't see that. I heard of it, but I didn't actually see the picture.
Yeah, I saw the picture of it. It looks strange. I mean, and also Kamacuras too.
Kamacuras is there. Yes, that was.
Yeah.
I saw that today when I was reading the book. I got to look for the Baragon. I didn't see Baragon. Oh, but the one you showed me, Chase, the one where you was like, "You see who's there?" And I was like, "Squee!"
He Gigan screeched.
I did I? Oh, was it a Rodan screech? Who knows? No one will. I tell you who doesn't know. Michael Daugherty. Michael Daugherty don't know.
Everybody on Toho Kaiju posting is convinced that Rodan goes, "Caca!"
He might. Who knows? It might have been Michael Daugherty in the sound booth doing it, but no. But Chase sent me a picture the other day, and he was like, "You see who's there?" And I literally fangirled out.
It's interesting touching on that subject though, because Mike Daugherty has been talking on Twitter about like all of these things, and he's basically he said that in that little excerpt at the end of the movie when they do the news clippings and all that, they said that is not just gibberish fanfare,
right?
That is actual canon stuff that is important information. So I want to go back and look at it all and stuff, because he basically confirmed that egg on Skull Island's Mothra. So,
well, we're gonna get to that.
What's that?
We're gonna get to that.
Yeah, but it's like I'm excited because when I go see Godzilla again, I want to try and pay attention to it.
It's all the more reason to be excited for the home video release, because you could pause that shit.
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you, and hopefully by next week's podcast, I should have a full transcription of what is said in that end credits. I'm not going to say how, but I'm going to say that I have a source. And that's all I can say. That's all I can say is I have a source. And hopefully by next week's podcast, even before that, it should be transcribed so I can share it with you guys so we can talk about that stuff. But yeah, all I'm saying is there are things. And those things, Michael Daugherty ain't playing around when he says, pay attention. Pay attention. And it's going to be... Dude, do you understand how awesome this is going to be where everybody gets this movie, right? Like, we're going to be, like, right on top of our TVs with, like, freaking, binoculars and shit. Pausing, like, doing slow-mo bits and pausing so you can read all the news articles.
Going frame by frame.
Frame by frame. It's unbelievable. And it's the biggest one to date because there's so much more shit that's available now. I mean, not available, but in terms of the MonsterVerse, there are more monsters, and now people know they're all out. Like, they're not all out, but they're out.
And there's one bit from the credits that people aren't even like really paying attention to, and that's the redacted text. Yeah, everybody's paying attention.
That's what he was talking about.
To the newspaper clippings. But what about the redacted text?
That's what he was talking about. He said, pay attention to the redacted text. He said that. Dude, you know how many times I sat there with Godzilla and tried to pause and read? And it's really, they don't give nothing away. There's nothing there. It's just, it adds to the mystery. This is different.
What's the redacted text?
So when when it says like directed by Michael Daugherty, but then like right before Michael Daugherty, it said blacked out. Yeah, that. He says pay attention to that. So I'm hoping by next podcast, I'll have a full transcription of what the text there says. I don't know about all the news articles. I guess most of the main points. But I will say this. It was Anguirus, by the way, people. The monster that Chase showed me said, look who's here. And we didn't get to that. So I squeed really loud because there he was, Anguirus. I loved it.
It's actual Anguirus, not Methuselah, who is fake Anguirus.
It's definitely Anguirus that came out of that mountain, and it's in the art book. I don't care what nobody says, because he's dead.
His name's Methuselah!
I don't know what you're talking about. That sounds weird. I can't even hear you. What? Oh, I love it. But you guys saw the thing, right, where in one of the articles, the Skull Island article, to be exact, where they were saying something about a giant kaiju underneath Skull Island or whatever. I'm going to find it right here. Here it is. Monarch boosts forces around Skull Island. Mysterious island becoming unstable. And then inside that article, some really cool dude, and I don't know who it was, but I want to thank them for snapshotting these pictures. And it says something about being used as a tool for war. This is a paragraph that it's continued from something else I didn't read. Against other humans. We don't know what that means. But anyway, De La Rosa went on to claim that Monarch was not only developing this mechanized giant on Skull Island, but had already tried to create organic titans in the past. And then it gets real blurry after that. You can't see nothing. It's probably cut out. Dudes, I'm going to just throw this out there right now. Kong is dead. Kong is dead. I swear on everything I love. Kong is dead. Long live the king. You know why Kong is so big where it could fight Godzilla at this point in time? Because Chase already said it. Mechanic Kong. Mechanic Kong. Cyborg Kong. Oh, Cyborg Kong. Nope, it's Mechanic Kong. Kong's not dead. All I'm saying is, when I see mechanized, right? What's the first thing that comes to your heads?
Mecha Godzilla.
Mecha Godzilla, Mecha Kong, fucking Mecha King Ghidorah, because at the end...
No, Mecha Kong. Mecha Godzilla.
Do we really want to see...
Mecha Kong second grade, not going to happen.
Mecha Rodan, Mecha Mothra.
Mecha Kamakarus, Mecha Gamera.
Mecha Baragon.
Mecha Baragon, dude. Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Mecha Varan.
Oh, don't even get me started with that one. He needs to be in the Monsterverse. Mecha Gigan. Wait a minute.
My Gigan's already Mecha.
I know.
Uber Gigan.
Uber Spock. Mecha Jet Jaguar. Wait a minute. We're going off the rails here. I love it. No, but dude, seriously, when you see that, and it's on Skull Island, so now we got to think. Since 1996, was that the birth of Kong? Did that take place in 96 or 93? I don't remember. The comic.
I think it was 96.
Okay, so then since 1996 to now, Monarch had to have established a base big enough where they're doing things on Skull Island.
They're studying Kong.
Right, because, well, besides that, but I mean, they're talking about creating these mechanized things. We don't know what things they're...
And what giant monster is underneath Skull Island.
Exactly.
All I'm saying to kind of hopefully debunk that whole Mechanic Kong is dead thing, Kong's alive in King of the Monsters.
Oh, yeah, listen, no, I'm not serious about that.
According to the novelization.
Yeah, no, I'm not serious about that. That's me goofing around. I'm not serious about that. It's going to be Godzilla fighting King Kong. And that's going to be awesome. But I'm just saying, if there was something as a Mecha Kong, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's probably a Mecha Godzilla to keep Kong in check. Where you going, fool? I would love that.
Well, yeah, like my theory is that Monarch realizes that the Godzilla sleeps for a long period of time when he feels like he's not needed. So in case any of the other Titans decide to act up, well, and Godzilla's not around, well, what the hell are they going to do? Well, why not make a mechanized version of the Alpha?
And put mazes on it, because mazes make everything better.
And see, when you, both of you saying that actually sounds pretty badass. They have their own mechanized... Because think about it. They need... All the Titans are reacting... Oh my God, guys!
I love it.
They're going to use the Orca. They're going to put that in Mecha Godzilla, so they can survive with the other Titans, because the Titans respect Godzilla now. Godzilla's going to find out about it, and that's when he's going to go against Mecha Godzilla, destroy it, because that is not the real Alpha, and it's going to cause a whole lot of chaos.
I would totally be on board for that. If it wasn't for the fact,
sounds so badass.
If it wasn't for the fact Godzilla disintegrated the Orca with Vera Farmiga's character,
they'll make it again.
Right.
Yeah, Mark and Matty Russell are confirmed to come back for Godzilla vs Kong, so it's pretty much almost. I believe that Mark kind of just joined back with Monarch after the events of King of the Monsters. He just works for them now again.
Well, if you remember in the movie, they basically were saying we tried to make our own Orca, but we could never figure out the final stuff with it.
Yeah.
And Serizawa, when he gave them that to figure it out, now it's possible they can make their own.
Yeah, you ain't lying. That would be dope. I would actually like that. You know?
But I like the idea of like Mecha Godzilla keeping Kong in check on the island, or just like monsters in general. Because what do they do if Godzilla's not around? They need something to help fight these Titans, and I think that'd be pretty interesting. I think that'd be so cool.
I'm telling you right now, the way Godzilla King of the Monsters just threw convention out the window and was like, no, here it is. yeah, you could totally do it because now it feels like a Toho film. Just do it.
Yeah. Like, back when 2014 was a thing, everybody was like, no, mecha are out of the question.
Right.
That does not fit in with the movie that 2014 was. Well, it certainly fits with King of the Monsters.
Yeah, I was one of those people. I was like, there's no way you do a mecha for this. It's dumb. But again, I was also the person that was like, there's no way you do a burning Godzilla for this. It's stupid. Why would you do it? And then it works. And then it fucking works. And I gotta eat my crow.
I also like that Mike Daugherty said that he can reuse that ability if he wants.
See, and I didn't like that, but I'm okay with it. You know what I'm saying? I'm kind of like, I don't know, because unless they're fighting Gam Gam's favorite evil being, Baggin.
No.
Well, they all...
It makes me wonder, though, if we're going to see Skull Crawlers again in Godzilla vs. Kong.
It's pretty much confirmed. That well, not confirmed, but like it's very likely.
I know in the novel they get into that a lot.
Yeah. The Skullcrawlers did respond to Ghidorah's call, so they're awake.
So is there an Alpha Skullcrawler, and that's not Skullcrawler?
No, the Alpha Skullcrawler got killed by Kong in Kong Skull Island. Yeah. So since they didn't have an Alpha, they responded to Ghidorah.
Ah, sweet. I get it. It makes sense. It makes sense. I'm going to read the book. I have it. I'm only on like chapter 5. Literally, like, they're literally, they just got down into Bravo Base or whatever it's called.
It is a fantastic companion piece.
I will say this. Reading the novel, and I started reading the novel before I bought the Art of book, right? When they start talking about Mekele Mbembe, and I'm like, what? I'll be honest, I did not like where they were going with it. I really didn't. I was like, no, it's supposed to be a damn Apatosaurus from Africa. Like, that's what I wanted to see, a sauropod. You know, like, come on. A gigantic I wanted to see the giant behemoth. You know, not know something that was in the Moroccan caves or pyramids or wherever he was. And I still don't know what it was. So, I'm like, well, I'm going to get the Art of book. And I'm pretty sure because it's in the script. It was in the script because it's in the story.
Yeah, it was in the original 3-hour cut.
Right.
Like, pretty much when you're reading the book, you're reading the original 3-hour cut.
Right. And so I'm like, all right, it should be in the Art of. It should be concept art. It's not there. I was pissed. But I will say what is there. The part where they go down into Bravo Base. And they talked about the Muto slightly, but they never gave any detail that the Muto head is hanging there. They talked about, I think, 2 other Titans that were dead. You know what I mean? That's
Mecha Muto.
Dude, it's in the book. It's in the Art of. Like, they showed that thing, and I'm like, oh, they showed 2 things. And I'm like, what the hell is this? So, one, it's very hard to describe, but it kind of looked like something from Pacific Rim. It looked like one of the kaiju from Pacific Rim, but it was dead, and I won't say it was bones, but it was like mummified, if you will, but it was definitely dead.
That was SCP-682.
Ah, okay. And then there was another one that looked like, you ever see like when a shark dies or a whale dies and the skin's pulled back so you just see like the bone, the mouth?
Oh, no, that was SCP-682.
So that was there, and I was like, oh, it looks like this alligator whale thing. I'm not saying nothing, but there's no skin on its face because it's a bone. But okay, all right. So that I was happy with, but that was like it in terms of, I mean, there's some other things. I think they show like.
I also love how they explicitly mentioned the events in the novel of Godzilla Awakening and Godzilla Aftershock.
I don't remember the Awakening one. I did see the Aftershock.
You haven't gotten to the Awakening reference yet.
All right, cool. Because there's something in the Art of book that I was like, that looks like that thing from that first comic that I hated so much. But I don't know. I haven't read it in so long, so I could be wrong. But the Art of book, like I said, I just looked at the pictures. I didn't even read. The only thing I read was Michael Daugherty's forward and his introduction, and I thought it was dope what he was talking about. And again, it's something me and Chase talked about a lot off the podcast, just to each other. The dude is one of us, man. He's a fan. I respect the shit out of that dude, man. Except for Rodan, you stupid motherfucker. But I respect the shit out of that dude, and just reading his intro to that book, it made me feel good, man. And I'm like, damn, I really wish we would have came out. We did come through, but I really wished this movie would have done better than it did for him. because I like the guy. You know what I mean? He's genuine. He's a fan, and he feels like just this. He's the dude you want to buy a beer in the bar for. Here, everything you drink, it's on me, bro. Have fun, have at it. But yeah. So that's all that. Chase, you got anything to add to any of my nonsensical nonsense?
No, not really. I mean, yeah, no, I think like if Legendary said, "All right, Mike, you're the holder of the throne for the MonsterVerse. We're gonna let you make the movies for the MonsterVerse," I would be all for it. You know, I would love his take on all of the movies. Like, well, imagine what he would do with the Godzilla vs Kong movie. But I mean, he did help fill in some things for the script for Adam Wingard. So hopefully
more than that. So after I seen Godzilla King of the Monsters, so this was Saturday afternoon last week, right? Just came home from my 4th viewing. And now I'm like, okay, I can open up the floodgates and watch some of the reviews. But the first one I wanted to watch, I saw before I left to go see the movie again, wasn't a review. It was Michael Daugherty on Collider talking about like the Easter eggs and things like that. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go. I'm watching this. And it was like 25 minutes. It was short, but it was good. Very insightful. Unfortunately, and I feel bad, but the girl doing the interview, and she missed out on some potential ass-kicking questions that should have been asked.
Which is typical.
Which is typical, and I don't fault her for it. I don't think she knows the entire series like we do, but there were some things she could have got him with, and I think he was more than willing to answer. And I was sitting there on my chair like, oh, come on, you had the opportunity, girl. Fuck, do it.
Yeah, like asking him why is Rodan such a bitch.
Well, don't say that. Why is Rodan not have his, most iconic Raw? That's fucking question you're supposed to goddamn... No, let me stop. I gotta stop. Because I'm losing sleep over this. No, I'm not. But so she was talking about it. She was, trying to pry some Kong skull. Godzilla vs. Kong tidbits. And of course, that was good. That was good interviewing on her part. And he wasn't giving nothing away. But he was saying that he was brought on, and he damn near co-wrote the whole damn thing. So I love this idea that his vision is still there through his writing.
Just through the cinematography of another director.
Right. So I like that. That his ideas are still in place. And one very, very interesting thing she asked him, she was like, talk about the end credit sequence. And that's where he said, well, if you pay attention to everything we did in that first bumper credits, pay attention to the redacted stuff. He goes, there's a ton of things in there. He goes, and I ain't gonna say nothing. Go ahead and look for it. And I liked it. I was like, oh, dope. But then he was talking about the King Ghidorah thing, and he didn't really get into too much details. But she asked him, was there anything that you wanted in the movie that didn't make the cut? And he said, yes. There was this alternate end credit sequence he wanted to do. And I was like, oh boy. He wanted to basically have Dr. Ling and Dr. Chen link up. And apparently they're sisters, they're twins. And I knew it. And if you look at the credits, they're both played by Zhang Shi-yi or whatever. I can't pronounce her name I hope I did that right. But they're both played by her, the same actress. They meet up in some, in the street, and there's a bar, and they go in the bar, and I guess this is somewhere in in an Asian country. And they go down these stairs into the bar, and it becomes not a monastery, but kind of like a monastery. A temple, thank you. I couldn't even get it out. And they go down it, and then there's the two little girls that were in the picture that they showed. The daughters. And they're twins, and they're singing to an egg. Come on, man.
That is awesome.
Come on, man. Are you kidding me? I was like, man, I would have took that over the King Ghidorah thing any day of the week, bro.
Because you know what's going to suck about that is if the end credit thing with King Ghidorah has nothing to do in Godzilla vs. Kong.
Could you? No, they can't set that up and do that, Chase. Dude,
I know they can't, but imagine. Imagine if it's not even touched.
No, dude.
Be a dick move.
Or it should be something so dumb about just like they don't even go on like mechanized monsters. It just has to do something with like nothing, it's nothing to do with King Ghidorah, but it's like some other monster. Oh, we took the DNA from King Ghidorah and put it in this monster. Some shit like that.
We're getting Super Godzilla, ladies and gentlemen.
No.
That's what bagging was in Super Godzilla. We're getting Super Godzilla.
I know. Stop.
Super King Ghidorah.
Right.
Big heads.
Super King Ghidorah. Yes. Oh, dude. You know what? And that movie's called Orochi the Eight-Headed Dragon, but I now want a Super King Ghidorah with 6 heads. Just go for broke. Shin Godzilla 2 confirmed. No, goddamn, no. It's a terrible joke. Could you imagine Shin Godzilla's tail actually like splits off and becomes like heads, and then it's like King Ghidorah, Godzilla? Oh my god, kill myself. I'm giving people ammunition here. I gotta stop. But no, I'm saying, in all honesty, he also said that they had locations, like everything was ready to go for that shoot. And then he shrugged. He said, who knows? Maybe we get that as a deleted scene. Dude. What?
I know. I want to get when it comes out on Blu-ray, I want to get the best version possible for all the...
I would be happy if there was any deleted scenes at all, because for God's sakes, the 2014, no 2014 release since the beginning when it first went out on Blu-ray to now has any deleted scenes. We have not seen anything of that Akira Takarada cameo that got cut out ever, and I'm still mad about that.
Maybe they'll do like a collector's cut, and it'll be 2014 and King of the Monsters stacked together, and they'll have like all of that in it.
You know what? To me, you know what the biggest concern I have, and this is a very minor thing. They need a better freaking menu when you pop those DVD or Blu-rays.
Oh yeah, it's so half-assed.
It's basic.
Yeah, I hate that. I'm like, come on, man, give me some interactive shit. Play the movie in the background. When you go to this selection, have like, and this will work, especially because of the Monarch Sciences thing. Could you imagine you get like scene selection, deleted scenes, special features, play movie?
Or have the menu be the Orca.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I was getting at. And then like when you select each one, it has like a different ping, a different sound effect. Maybe the monsters cry. Give me something better than just some generic shit. With
Daugherty at the helm, I have no doubt that he would want something like that. And since he's the director, he gets what he wants.
Yeah, for the movie, but we don't know how that works in home video.
I mean, okay.
But listen, man.
I mean, like one of the cool things about the Alien versus Predator special edition that I have is the menu screen sometimes will transition from the Alien tomb to sometimes Predator's wrist bracer as the DVD selection, and like they do a little cinematic little animation where he's like flips it up and you can press play and shit, and he like presses the button that you want and stuff. Like I would love something like that for Godzilla vs Kong.
I love it. Or even King of the Monsters, I love it. Give us something better than what we've got.
Oh yeah, King of the Monsters. That's the Godzilla vs Kong.
All right, last thing before we wrap this up. Apparently news that broke this week in the video game community. I haven't read the thing. G73 sent it to me, and I apologize for not reading that, but it's news nonetheless. And if it holds true, this is humongous. So, hey, Gams, I know you wanted to talk about this, and Chase, you take it after him. So, Gams, what's the deal?
Okay, so anybody who's in the gaming community, anybody who's a Godzilla fan who is a gamer, rise up, fellow gamers. Apparently, there is a leak on 4chan that during the Microsoft press conference on the 9th, on Sunday, that Arc System Works, the guys behind Blaze Blue, Guilty Gear, Dragon Ball Fighters, is going to unveil a Godzilla vs. Kong tie-in fighting game, 2D fighting game. Oh. And that, if it is indeed true, that is mind-blowing. Because Arc System Works makes some of the best 2D fighters out there right now.
All right, this is true.
Like this is a dream come true for me. I kept on saying, if we ever get a 2D fighting Godzilla game ever again, Arc System Works needs to be the one to make it.
When was the last time we had a 2D fighting Godzilla game? That was like on TurboGrafx.
That would be Godzilla Kaiju Daikisen for the Super Nintendo.
Dude, that was for the Super Famicom because I don't remember playing that at all.
Yeah, Super Famicom, the Japanese version.
Okay.
Like, it was supposed to come out in America as Godzilla Destroying All Monsters, but it fell through and it didn't come out.
All right, and that's the one that came out like TurboGrafx 16 too, right? That's when they showed the Hesai monsters.
That was the previous game, Godzilla Battle Legends.
See, come on, man. Chase, is this what you sent me the other day?
Absolutely.
Dude, what do you think of this shit?
Man, I mean, I have it pulled up right here. I'm looking at the picture and everything. It's saying that it's a 2D Godzilla fighting game to tie in with Godzilla vs Kong to be released in the fourth quarter 2020 on PS4, Xbox One, and PC. And it shows, if you guys would mind, I have the rosters of the monsters.
The supposed rosters. Supposed rosters as of right now, because we don't know if this is real. Supposed rosters.
Yeah, but if so, it says Godzilla 2014 will be in it, Kong, Mechagodzilla MK1, King Ghidorah, Anguirus, Godzilla 54, Jet Jaguar, King Caesar, Megalon, Behemoth, Mechanai Kong, Gigan, Mothra, Rodan, Destroya, Kiru, Muto, Zilla, Baragon, Orga, Space Godzilla, and then any unlockable or DC monsters are unknown. And as Andrew said, expect a reveal trailer at Microsoft's E3 conference.
My boy Zilla! My boy Zilla!
Okay. Here we go. Yup, here we go. I can't believe I gotta fucking end the podcast the way I started the podcast because no. I don't believe.
You think it's fake?
I think it's fake. Look, because it sounds too good to be true.
You think it's false and homosexual?
I'm gonna tell you why. Because if they Mechanicum, are you serious? Then that just confirms what we talked about 20 minutes ago. That's all it just confirms what we just talked about. Look, I'm gonna tell you this. Now, the reason why I don't believe this, and I really hope it's real, because again, the guys behind Guilty. First off, Guilty Gear X was one of my favorite fighting games ever. I remember the first time I played a Guilty Gear game, I was like, wait, I could kill you 2 seconds into the round? What? I thought that was amazing. I never played Blast Blue, and I have Dragon Ball Fighters. I love it. But, I don't know how this works. This is where it gets tricky, licensing-wise. Toho owns all of those characters except for Kong. Who the hell is Behemoth? I don't know if they own that.
Behemoth is, like, I'm saying that this might be a legendary game. A legendary licensed game, because Behemoth is part of King of the Monsters.
Video game rights are different for the Toho actual rights. Because Pipeworks, I believe, lost their rights to Godzilla. And
what Pipeworks?
Someone else bought them.
What was Pipeworks making? If you could hook me up, I don't know.
Godzilla Destroy All Monsters Melee, Godzilla Save the Earth, and Godzilla Unleashed.
Okay, so I think of it as the Atari games. Gotcha. Okay, gotcha. I know that, but the thing with the Pipeworks games were all of those monsters were under Toho, and then when they created those new monsters for the game, like none of them was King Kong is a different thing, and I'm pretty sure we're gonna get. I'm pretty sure if it's real, that can happen. Because if I'm not mistaken, Kong's in the public domain. We can make a Kong movie right now. It's in the public domain, right? But dude, man, Sunday's gonna be big now. I wanted to watch that for like Gears of War 5 and the Halo Infinite, but now you got me like, what? There's gonna be a Godzilla fighting game? Are you fucking kidding me?
Like I said, take it with a grain of salt. 4chan leaks have been known time and again to be fake as hell, but then again, that King of the Monsters plot leak was real from 4chan.
Oh, man, but that's different. That was like an actual movie that was really coming out. This is just hype. This is hyperbole right now, man.
I think, in my opinion, this would be very strange to someone to make a fake of it. But the thing is, too, is like, still, take it with a grain of salt as always, but it seems like for it to be to be fake, it sounds like that's a big effort.
Like, imagine a playable behemoth, that mammoth sloth boy from King of the Monsters, a playable Zilla, my precious iguana boy.
Wasn't Zilla in like one of those Atari games though?
He was planned. He got scrapped because of unpopularity.
Okay, you know what Zilla was in? Godzilla Generations. Yeah, Natch on Sega's Dreamcast. I used them. What? Nobody? No, what? Was it before your time? Come on, guys. I ain't that old.
I've tried to get it to work on an emulator, but I can't get it to work, and I'm sad about that.
It's nothing but a glorified Super Godzilla with Zilla. So, I mean, anyhow, I digress. But come on, I don't... what was wrong with the Bandai game? Come on! Am I the only one who
tell you what was wrong with the Bandai game. Just play it.
Here's what was wrong with the Bandai game. The general audience did not like it.
It was a bad controls. That's all it was. It was bad controls.
Yeah, the general audience did not like the game. Us defense, yeah, we liked it well enough. But the general audience did not like that game at all.
If the controls were better, and this is why I'd be like bugging out, like, why would they make this like, come on, man. Godzilla's not a freaking robot. Make him move with the damn joysticks. Ugh. If the controls were better, I think people would have enjoyed it. Yes, it's sluggish, but I think they would have had more fun with it. I
also think if it didn't have its repetitiveness that it did, it would have been a lot better too.
What are you talking about? You didn't have fun destroying cities with Godzilla's pulse?
And also what killed it was the online. Like, that online fighting was so unbalanced. If anybody chose Biollante or Burning Godzilla, you're not going to win.
Okay.
Unless you chose Biollante or Burning Godzilla.
Okay, in that regard, I can't, because I don't play online, so I can't even speak to that. And I believe
that game.
Yeah, I believe that.
No, I had fun destroying buildings as Godzilla, but what I got bored with was after I finished the game, trying to earn more powers for Godzilla and then doing the same thing over again. I felt like if they wanted to do that, they could have added at least like a different arena, a different story mode to it to go off on, just because it just got too repetitive for me.
Okay,
destroying generators, fighting monsters. Destroying generators, fighting monsters. Destroying generators, fighting monsters.
Wrong, Super X 1, 2, and 3
too.
I liked it. I don't know. Maybe it was, every time I play that game, I gotta watch the Heisei series. I swear to God, every time I put that game on, I gotta watch the Heisei series.
I mean, or vice versa. Playing as the '89 Godzilla, that was fun.
That game is the Heisei series incarnate.
I love it. I love it so much. All right, but before we wrap up, I really want to talk about this supposed game. That being said, and I get the sluggish controls and just the repetitiveness. What's so different? Like, this is my problem when it comes to fighting games with licensed monsters like Godzilla. Because I love a game like King of the Monsters from SNK back in the 90s. I mean, I have King of the Monsters on my Xbox right now. I have fun with that. And then knockoff versions of Godzilla, King Kong, Ultraman, you know? And Neo Geo really... They played up more of a wrestling match than giant monsters fighting. When I hear something like this, I'm like, well, it's a 2D fighting game. It's going to be like Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat. And with giant monsters, especially Godzilla and stuff, what could you possibly do? Because you're not doing air combos. You're not, and if you do, then I don't even want any part of this game. To me, that's stupid.
Like I said, I think Arc System Works is going to take Godzilla Battle Legends and Godzilla Kaiju Daikisen as a template. And those games played like Street Fighter, but they were very unique in their own right.
Absolutely. I want more city destruction in my games. 2D fighter, as much as I love 2D fighters, and I still stick to my guns when I say Street Fighter 3 Third Strike is the greatest 2D fighter of all time.
It is.
I just, with Godzilla, I would like to rotate the camera and destroy the city. Just saying.
That's how I feel too.
Right? I'm just saying. And if it's them doing it, I have nothing but faith because I love every single one of their sprites in the 2D realm that they've done thus far. I absolutely love Dragon Ball FighterZ because it is the anime come to life and I get to play it. What? But with Godzilla, what are we looking at here? Are we looking at more lifelike models? Are we going a little bit more cartoony to fit so they can do that 2D thing well? They do things well, but they're also fast paced, and I just don't buy the fast pace in a Godzilla.
Yeah, we don't know what it's going to be like yet. We don't even know if it's real.
That's exactly. Exactly.
So, like I said, just anybody who's a Godzilla fan and anybody who is a gamer, keep an eye on the Xbox conference. If it's real, then shit, I'd want to talk about it with everybody. But if it's fake, whatever.
Yeah. If it's real, we'll be on Sunday or Monday talking about it. You can guarantee we'll be on. Because I watch E3. That's the E3, Comic-Con, the Video Game Awards. I'm on all that. I'm there every year. I watch it. So, but hey, that'll do it for this episode of the Godzilla Block Party. It's a little long, but it's okay. It's all right. You know why? Because we had a good time at the end of the day. Even though we didn't. We did. But I want to thank my panels, my boys for being with me. Gams, thank you for joining us again.
Oh, yeah. Always a pleasure.
And, of course, my brother, Chase. I love you, bro. Thank you for joining us.
As always, I was glad I was able to make it.
Hell yeah. And everybody out there, thank you for joining and listening into this extremely long podcast. We ain't going to do this all the time, but we do appreciate your time. So, that being said, I am G1. This is the Godzilla Block Party. And we out of here. Peace.